How's it going, boys and girls? Today we are going to be doing something a little bit different, and that's the fact is we're going to be correcting a mistake that I made recently. You guys remember this video right here? I can never remember what corner it's going to be on. You guys saw the standing eye unboxing and then the enclosure we put them in. After that video went live, I got a couple of comments from actually standing eye breeders saying that the tank really isn't sufficient for that species of gecko. After looking a little bit more into it, I've realized, yeah, they're actually right. It's actually going to be this build right here, this 29-gallon enclosure. This is where we put the pair of standing eyes, and when we got those comments, I decided to look a little bit more into it, and actually personally witnessing the standing eye, you know, how they move around in the enclosure, what their favorite spots are, things of that nature. Found that this enclosure really it's not suited for them. They need something a little bit better. They need something with a little bit more verticality and a lot more areas with hardscapes that can go in horizontal areas that they can go and bask on. Speaking of basking, it's almost impossible to put a basking bulb in this type of setup just because no matter what, there's just plants everywhere, right? So if you put a basking bulb in there, that's going to be way too much heat for most of these things, and they're just gonna kind of die off. I will admit, this was a bit of a clumsily put together enclosure. As I mentioned in that first video, it's what I call the hand-me-down enclosure. Before we started Project Jungle and our bioactive products, we had just a bunch of plants that I bought haphazardly and just randomly that I got. And I kind of just threw them all in here with a background that I made like, 3 years ago, I think, for red-eyed tree frogs. Well, I now understand this isn't the best for them. And that's Project Jungle's all about, what's best for the animal. Yes, we're making really cool, aesthetically pleasing enclosures, but at the end of the day, even if it's a cool enclosure, but the animal isn't 100% happy and thriving in it, what's the point? Now brings us to the reason why we're making today's video. These standing eye geckos are gonna get an upgraded enclosure and gonna be moving in today. If you guys don't see me at reptile shows, you probably don't know this, but I actually build custom enclosures for the shows. I bring about 1 or 2 to the shows, sell them as a complete enclosure, bioactive, fully planted out, just the whole kit. If you want to get a gecko or you bought a gecko and you don't want to worry about building stuff, we built it for you. Since unfortunately we're taking a hiatus for shows, this enclosure didn't sell the last time, so I've just kind of had it laying around. That's when that little light bulb popped up in my head and said, hey, if this enclosure is just standing here, it's a better enclosure for the standing eyes. Why don't we just put them in that and then build another enclosure later when we can do shows again? I'm retrofitting this thing, adding some more stuff. I took some stuff out, gave them plenty of horizontal areas, some branches to climb on, corks they can hide in, and then a nice little basking area where both of the standing eye geckos are able to bask in the same spot. I think this enclosure is going to work a lot better for these guys. While it's not the most aesthetically pleasing, just due to the fact that these plants haven't grown into their, full size yet, just put in mind, instead of making this the nicest looking enclosure, I said, what does a standing eye gecko going to enjoy the most? And that's kind of how we made this one up. Now it leads us to the next segment in the fun job of getting these standing eye geckos out of this top enclosure and then putting it in this enclosure right here. Bit of a game plan. As you guys saw, those cork tubes kind of look out of place, right? That's because I just put them in here today. The plan is we're going to kind of scurry the geckos into the cork to where we're able to pop them in like this, and then just one side open, poke it, and it goes in. That's kind of the game plan. You can avoid any animals running around. Obviously, this isn't my reptile building anymore, and having an animal run out in a basement that doesn't have any doors, any secondary closing mechanisms, it would be a real pain in the butt trying to catch these guys in this place. So, let's see how it goes. I'm not looking forward to this. And alrighty, boys and girls, here we go. Okay. All right, I see one over here. All right. We just gotta get it. The cork is where they want to hide. Almost. Ah! Come on now, cork bark, cork. The cork is the safe zone. Come on now. This is gonna be harder than I thought. Got one. Seemed to be a little bit, that was a new male that came, so it looks like someone worked with him a little more than I apparently worked with this female. I don't know where she went. I gotta find her now. Try to do a little sneak. Got her. That little standing eye took a little chomp out of me. I didn't even realize that. They're both in. My super 500 IQ play of doing it humanely with the cork tube idea did not work. However, they're in. That's what matters. No one dropped their tail. It was a little stressful, but everything's good now. They are back in this enclosure, or in this new enclosure, not back. Overall, these guys are going to be a lot happier in this type of setup. That's because we're going to have a lot, like I mentioned earlier, you know, more verticality, more horizontal branches to lay on, hide out on. It seemed most of the time when they were in this old enclosure, they would just kind of try to hang on to the rock little background thing, which is kind of a big bummer, you know. I thought they'd utilize it a little more, but hey, mistakes happen. I'm not some reptile expert god, I'm just some dipshit that makes YouTube videos. We all make mistakes. The important thing is that you correct them to make sure the animal's well-being is top priority for you. Before we continue on with today's video, I just want to give a huge shout out to today's sponsor, me. If you guys don't know, we've actually recently done a full bioactive expansion when it comes to the business of Dakota Blue Exotics. This means we have everything from your bioactive substrates, drainage layer, the cleanup crew, isopod, springtails, a variety of different plants, both terrarium and air plants, all the way down to complete kits that we can give for you depending on the enclosure size you're working with. I'm very excited to announce we have finally launched our e-commerce website, which means we have a full website. It's probably right here where you guys can see all of the awesome stuff that we have and purchase it fully through that site alone. With this awesome time period of finally launching a brand new website, I wanted to give back to you guys, which means right now until the end of March, you guys can get 10% off your order for new customers using the code FIRSTTIME in the little discount code box. You guys check it out. We worked really hard on it, and I'm really excited with this bioactive expansion, how it's going for the business. Thank you guys so much. Let's get back into the video. Well, that just leaves the question now is what to do with this enclosure. Now, if you guys watched probably the last video or the video before, I've been making a lot of these and not editing a lot of these. You'll know that we did a bit of a switcheroo where the super red tokay went with another tokay went. We did a Project Jungle build. That one's been temporarily set in this 18 by 18 with not an enclosure. Now, I was going to originally build out this other 18 by 24 for it, but now I'm thinking, well, I have this 29 gallon that's already good. We've had great success breeding tokays. This actually, I bred tokays in this exact enclosure before I made it a Project Jungle build. So I think the game plan for that is just going to be grooming up a bit. You see this bamboo's not doing too good. We want to get the dead growth out of that. We'll add some more branches in there for them, and then we'll put the little family of tokays in this enclosure right here. That should do it. I like it. Good build. Good redesign. First redesign of Project Jungle. Hopefully, I won't have to do too many of those. Hopefully we get it right the first time. Looking pretty dang good. Nice and cluttered for the tokay geckos. We added some cork hides, even though I hate using cork hides. The tokays do enjoy them, so it'll just make it more of a pain in the butt when people want to buy babies, and I gotta do it. But you know what? I'll do it for the tokays. Left just to give this thing a miss, then we can pull those tokays out and put them in their new home as well. Mom stayed inside this one. I just need to make sure if the baby's in there or not. Not on the outside. The baby is literally right there. That's slightly concerning. Okay. You can literally see it. Okay, let's I should have put the geckos in first before I did this, because this is going to be a really weird and awkward angle. So we'll just place it on. Do it like this. This is a very stupid idea, but this is what we're going to do. Just, oh my god. Gotta get my tongs. Alright, now I just need to get the baby. Baby in. Looks like the male tokay decided not to go into a hide, so he thinks he's gonna be a tough guy out in the open trying to psych me out. What he doesn't know, I'm actually a gold medalist in USA boxing, so this is gonna be easy. Oh. Let's not do that. Nice large male, real big chompers. Don't want to get bit by that, so we're just gonna go ahead and put him on in. All right, buddy. In you go. Nope. You stay in, you don't come out. Jeez. No, another day, another dollar. And by dollar, I mean 2 cents on ad revenue I get from this video. It's looking pretty nice. I don't know if that bamboo's gonna survive in there. I don't know if something's going on with it, but it just keeps getting a little worse and worse each week. So we'll see. If not, I can just move the cork a little bit, and it's not that big of a deal. I don't think I'll replant anything over there. I think putting a little bit more hardscapes in there would be the way to go for these guys. You can tell by the big smiles on these Tokei's faces they are happy with this enclosure. The baby yeeted himself off into the leaf litter and hid in there, so I don't know exactly where he is right now, but he's probably having the time of his life with those orange isopods. But hey, if that wasn't enough bioactive shenanigans that you guys saw, I'd recommend this playlist right here that shows all the Project Jungle builds that we did step by step, or maybe you want to check out some Tokei videos, in which case I think this one is very good. Not for my physical health, because the bite was bad, but it's a good video. As always, thank you so much for taking the time in your day to follow us over here at Dakota Blue Exotics. I will see you guys next time, but until then, goodbye.